Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly collective reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's good to see you. As always, this reading is going to help us navigate the week ahead. You also chose a really interesting special topic. We're going to take a look at a 3-month forecast. So we're already at the end of January, so that'll be February, March, and April. So just to kind of give us a pulse on what's going on in this first quarter of the year. So welcome, good to see you. A little bit more rested, have the gear set up a little bit better than I did a week ago. I'll be here for one more collective, and then I'll be traveling the first week of February. As many of you know, I'm just taking a little break away from the air quality in Los Angeles because, it's not super healthy right now. So let's get started. I had a lot of energy coming through in channeled messages and dreams last night. One of the first things that I was picking up on was it felt like one of those first days of school or work or just an initial connection or orientation with something. So whenever there's a new chapter, a new beginning, sometimes you feel this sense of where do I go first? What do I do next? I was a little discombobulated, looking for a schedule, looking for a map. And so I think that today in particular, whenever you happen to watch this video, it'd be really good to just sort of ground yourself in meditation or take a deep breath and then think about what it is from a goal perspective that you're trying to accomplish in this week ahead. That's going to help you from getting into that sort of fight or flight mode, and it'll save you a lot of time and energy down the line. The other thing that I saw was it kind of felt like, it's interesting because I just launched a podcast on reincarnation, but it was almost like this sense of I'm supposed to remember what I'm doing. So it's not just about planning, it's like an awakening to purpose, an awakening to a calling. And we get wake-up calls in our life from time to time. It can be a health incident, safety thing in your life. There could be something really great like a marriage or a birth or something like that. But these little wake-up calls help us also better align to what it is we're supposed to be focusing on. So I think in addition to planning, what might also be helpful in this week ahead is to sort of think like, what's the big so what? Why am I here? And it's not like an existential crisis. It's more just sort of like, what am I getting the most out of right now? And this is going to also help you just be more effective and impactful in this period of time. Okay, let's now get into the 7-day forecast. So this is very granular. This is going to help you look specifically at the week ahead. And let's see, just to kind of shake things up, I got some travel decks so that we weren't always looking at the same cards. So as always, I like to set intentions here. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that you're tracing a circle of light around your body. And let's set an intention to receive guidance in the highest forms. You can call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Okay, let's begin. All right, let's get started with the energy of today. So for this Sunday, the big message is around not overthinking things. So we have the Sun or the Knight of Wands. It is in the reversed position. And this is really an encouragement to trust what you already know. And sometimes we talk ourselves in or out of something. So if you've already done the work here, and you've done like the research and you're ready, now's the time. So just to get past that. This is also a call to keep an open mind. So the Knight of Wands in reversed sometimes can be so focused on something happening at a certain place at a certain time that you can miss another opportunity. So I love it. I love it when you're sort of very resolute, because that is the Knight of Wands no matter what. But when the Knights are reversed, any of the 4 Knights, they're saying, let's take a step back, let's review everything in front of us, and then let's go forward. Some of you may have had a change of heart or change of mind, and that's fine. But don't kind of like go down a rabbit hole. So it's kind of finding that perfect medium, just checking in, trusting your intuition, listening, and then moving forward. That's pretty much it for this. This is a great day for also reclamation of power, and that can happen through rest, simply put. If you've been working yourself ragged, the best way to get back into that really powerful energy that we see here is to take some time to yourself, okay? There could also be tests when it comes to your authority, your decision-making, your power, and again, in this situation, trust yourself, okay? So Monday is pretty good so far. I'm sorry, Sunday is pretty good so far. Now we're gonna move on to Monday and see what's coming through. All right, so for Monday, we have the Father of Wands energy coming through. This is the King of Wands. So it actually looks like you're going to be able to take whatever idea or beginning energy you have today to the next level. The same sort of general warnings come through when it's just about being open-minded, but there's some new things that I would say associated strictly with the fact that this is a king, which is to take action. In general, kings tend to be a little bit more passive, much more passive than any of the other court cards. Pages are busy communicating. Queens are busy building, nurturing, and listening. Let's see, knights are moving things around, but the kings sometimes are just sitting with something. So this is a day to really take the thought or idea and bring it into action, ground it. And that's really the only comment that I have on this is just don't wait for it to happen, make it happen. So for those of you that have been waiting for someone else to pick up the phone, send a text, do an email, now is the time for you to basically just say, you know what, I'm going to take this on, I'm going to make this happen, or I'm going to check in. I'm going to take the initiative. This can also work, by the way, in relationships and things like that. If you've been waiting for someone to reach out for help, to say, let's do this. Are you free today? All of this is going to help you and just kind of help move the needle forward as well. Okay, let's take a look at the energy of Tuesday. Very interesting. Okay, so on Tuesday, we have Four of Cups energy. And it's interesting that they have a rat on this card. Rats are very smart. Sometimes we're too smart for our own good, and I think you might be missing something that isn't, it's either very obvious or it's unexpected, because this can be a blessing in disguise. So there's a lot of energy this week about keeping an open mind to alternatives. And how can I find a silver lining in something where it doesn't feel like, it's supposed to be, right? Four of Cups typically has someone that looks something like this. They have their hands crossed. There's 3 cups in front of them. They tend to be fixated on that, and there's a floating cup over here. So it isn't always how we planned it to be. It isn't always how we want it to be. But oftentimes, we can still make a lot of it. And this is about making the most of a situation, keeping an open heart, open mind, not comparing yourself too much to other people. And again, when we're looking at this analytical stuff, that's actually what I get with the rat, believe it or not, because they're intelligent. Overthinking, there's 3 days of overthinking and possibly missing something very obvious or very, it's like right in front of you, but just maybe you don't want to accept it. So I'm getting stubbornness too, because definitely, by the way, the King of Wands in the previous day is very stubborn. So you may be dealing with someone that's stubborn. You may be kind of challenged with your own stubbornness. Be that as it may, you know that the main thing to focus on is just sort of like taking a deep breath and letting it go. And that actually is what we've got here for the midweek. A beautiful full energy, new beginnings, things hopefully starting to get a little bit easier. And this is about taking the first step. It does not have to be perfection. The Fool is just about a beginning. And typically, the Fool has a little knapsack, so not carrying a lot of emotional baggage, expectations, fear, anxiety, etc. Just taking a deep breath and going for it. Because it feels like, as we're looking at all of these, you've done a lot of thinking, and hopefully you've seen the options in front of you. So by now, you should be ready to move in a new direction. Just one step at a time. So let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the need to have it all done at once. One step at a time, gently spreading your wings. And if it doesn't work the first time, keep on trying. This little baby chick is eventually going to be able to fly. But the first time may be a little bit, a little uncomfortable. By the way, we're looking at Wednesday. One thing I would say with this also, you may be inclined to travel. You might just need to create some space in your life. That 0 at the top can be like clearing things out and saying, all right, I have a clean slate, clean schedule. I'm going to just kind of like let things come through as they want to. All right. So that kind of open-mindedness is going to help you. And again, one step at a time. Moving on from Wednesday to Thursday. All right. Thursday's interesting. We have the Four of Pentacles here. And look at how this is kind of showing how you can get tied up with, it can be limiting thoughts and ideas, because the Four of Pentacles can represent like the devil, holding on to something. It's not enough, but at least it's there. But it's also holding you back from things. So all of these things look like rubber bands to me. When we say that's not enough, or I'm ready for more, or we just ask for more, then there's more balance and you don't feel so like pulled in directions. There may just also be a need to cut back on what it is that you're doing. If you took one of these pentacles away, you'd have the Three of Pentacles, which is basically progress, learning, completion, mastery. It's good stuff. So maybe take one thing off of your plate that isn't actually giving you an energetic return, and that's going to set you in a very positive direction. But don't accept less than your worth. That's a definite message whenever we have Four of Pentacles energy coming through, okay? When we're looking at finances, contracts, and negotiations, there may be people in your life that are trying to get you to do something for less, so you want to advocate for more. Also, I would say there could be some people in your life that aren't ready to open up, because this is typically a card where you're protecting your heart space. It could be you, it could be someone else. I think this is a day when if you don't have to have like a date or a meeting, so be it. It would be better the day before, or possibly if we move into the weekend. Okay, so let's go to the energy of Friday. Another perspective shifting card. So you got this week both the Four and the Five of Cups. Five of Cups, as we can see with this horse, does involve kind of letting go. Sometimes it's crying, sometimes it's laughter. It's an emotional release, but usually this is connected with I would say it's more like mourning than like happiness. But it is about recalibration, and it can be taken either way. We don't see it in this illustration, but normally there are two cups in the background and there's a bridge over the troubled water. So there's a choice eventually to say, I think I've done enough here. I've released the emotions enough. Let's see what else is out there. So process if you have grief or stress or other emotions, this is a day to really get into processing it, understanding it, and getting help if you need it. And then when you're finally ready, reaching out for assistance. There may be unexpected friendship or like a helping hand coming through. And don't be afraid to say thank you. That would be great. Because I do see support in that card, but the only block is sometimes our own emotions. If everything's good in your life, you could just find yourself a little bit more emotionally sensitive on Friday. So try to take it easy. Again, common themes this week around getting enough rest, meditating, not getting too sort of wrapped up in other people's business as well, because this could just be a person around you that no matter how good life is, there's always something they're a little bit mopey, there's a little problem with this or with that. So take a step back. You can't fix everyone all the time, okay? We have choices coming through as we look at Saturday, but you're going to make a decision probably for the better. I love the gigantic butterfly on this. We have two pentacles here, and when you decide to do one over the other, you open yourself up to make some progress. Again, you just might be pulled into too many directions. We see it's getting better, because as we were looking at Thursday, it was the Four of Pentacles. Now we're down to the two. Take that away, you've got an ace. You can actually put some progress and some energy into it. You may also just be simply looking at work-life balance or balance in general. Am I getting what I need out of this? Et cetera, et cetera. So advocate for that balance. And again, when it comes to compensation, make sure that you're getting what you're putting into it. I think finally we have a really good card here by next Sunday. This is the Seven of Wands, and what's interesting in this particular Seven of Wands is they chose to, there's nobody there kind of like pushing back. Instead, they're lighting the way. So you're going to delegate as necessary, work smarter, not necessarily harder, and lead by example. And you may get inspired as well. There's a lot of positive energy that precedes this because it comes after the Six of Wands. So we can imagine that there's an imaginary success this week somewhere in the mix. And when I do highlights and challenges, I'll talk about that in a second. But it feels like you're gonna achieve what you set out to achieve this week. And then the challenge towards the end is again making sure that you're not taking on too much. So let's thematically look at the week, and then I'll move into the elements. Thematically, as I'm looking at this, we already talked a great deal about perception. This is overthinking. This is missing a hidden blessing. This is emotions getting in the way of what you're seeing. So perception is key. Then we have balance of resources coming through as well. So making sure that you're not overextending yourself. Highlights of the week, I actually think the middle of the week. Wednesday is the best day because you can take a deep breath, you can clear your mind, you can start something new, and I think next Sunday as well. There's really no challenge that you can't overcome this week. I stated the challenges already, so just focus on keeping an open mind and making sure your schedule is manageable, okay? Let's move on to the next section, which is going to comprise the elements. And this is the only part of today's reading that is really going to be specific to the signs. So, again, I'm going to use a little tiny deck for this one. It's really small. But yes, I am traveling, so bear with me. All right, so let's take a look here at fire, earth, air, and water. All right, interesting. We'll start off with fire first. So pretty good week for you. We have the Hermit card, which represents expertise, wisdom, maybe a desire to pull back a little bit. You know, we were looking at the energy for when I was showing you the Seven of Wands leading the way and lighting the course in front of you. The Hermit always holds the star in the lantern. So you're going to kind of do the research this week and figure out, who am I? What do I want to do? How do I feel about this? Kind of like get very decisive and grounded and then come forward and share that wisdom. The Hermit doesn't stay in the shroud of the Hermit forever. Eventually they emerge. So do your work first, then come out. It feels like towards the end of the week, or even maybe Wednesday for some of you. And that's good. This is a great week for, if you need to get mentorship, you can do that. If you want to be a mentor, great. Education, meditation, spiritual development, all of those things are part of the Hermit. And working on your own, there's nothing wrong with it. So if you feel like you could do something better just with you, go for it. All right, so pretty good week for fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You've got this. Let's move on to earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Taking care of yourself. So the next three cards were reversed here. So Queen of Pentacles typically is a card that is focused on everyone else. So she is loyal. She is great at creating. This card is connected to the house, to core relationships in your life, and of course to wealth. So if you're the one that's constantly building and pushing energy into all of this, this is you too, it's earth. Now it's time for you to say, I want or need this, or I'm ready for this. Stating needs, desires, intentions, and setting them into motion. Taking some of your pre-existing resources and investing them in your own self. Also important in this period of time. Not always easy, right? I feel like all of us, it's easier to give, right, than to receive sometimes. So I think that in this particular moment, don't be afraid to receive if somebody does give something to you. Don't be afraid to ask if you need something or if something isn't where you sort of expect it to be. And make sure that you're also eating well, sleeping well, and getting the support that you need in your life, okay? When it comes to financial things this week, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, don't underestimate yourself. This is, I love every single Queen card. If I had to pick between the Queen and the Kings, I like Queen cards because they are continually creating, nurturing, and developing. Like I said, Kings are passive, they're at the top of the hill, but they're not always looking for new things. So this week, you can actually get a lot of work done, but make sure that you're also getting what you need. So it's a productive week, there's good things with resources, but sometimes you might be over giving, right? All right. I'm glad you guys like the small deck. I traveled with two. I'm like, I need at least 4 so that we can have some variety in our reading. So I didn't realize it was this small, but it's fun. This is one you could take with you anywhere. All right, so let's move on from earth to air. Air, you're getting clear on things. There could be some, for some of you, there could be questions like, what do I want to do? Or what is this all about? It could be high-level existential stuff, which is always important, super powerful. There could just be someone who gave you instructions and you're like, what are you talking about? Speak up. You also, and speaking as a fellow air sign, no judgment, you may just be looking in too many directions. So you need to take the scope and limit it a bit. and think about making a list of criteria. What is it that matters most? Allow that to be like a sieve to create a little less when it comes to how many things you're looking at. Again, also when it comes to how many things might be going on in your schedule, make sure that you're not at a point where you just can't think. I think we've all been there before where it's like, I just need to catch my breath, right? All right, so overall, what I do like about this card is it's connected to dreaming. I would love for you to pay attention to your dreams. If you can't remember your dreams, I read that in comments all the time, meditate. And for those of you who are like, I can't stop thinking when I meditate, this card is for you. I'd like you to see where your meditation takes you. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and see what's coming through. Are they thoughts of stress? Are they things that you'd rather be doing? Are you thinking of people? Because you're actually tuning in to what you should be focusing on. So in meditation, you don't always have to go to a Zen place. Sometimes we just go through and we sweep the mind, right? So do some mind sweeping. Do some clearing of your head, and just make sure that once you do that, I feel like then what's left is going to, maybe it's an ace of cups. It's going to be what you really desire, what you really want. But it feels like there's some mental decluttering that needs to happen first. Be inquisitive though, be the journalist, ask the compelling questions this week, and don't be afraid to ask if you don't understand, all right? Moving on from air to water. Don't fake the connection. This is really important for relationships. If you are just feeling like it's not happening, there's no spark, especially if there's something new, like you're dating someone, you owe it to yourself to follow that intuition. If you're also like looking at general things in your life and you're not feeling the spark, same thing with this. The magician is chemistry, it's connection, and the connection needs to be there. Now, an upright magician can do anything he sets his mind to or her mind to, but basically they need to focus. So focus is another thing that could be challenging. And again, by being discerning with how much you're putting time and energy into people, places, and things, less is more. And that's ultimately the key to being successful with the magician. I just launched a podcast, by the way, if you haven't seen it, it's on the main channel page. But I was talking to Matthias a little bit about the magician card. And I said discernment is what empowers this card, because you can't always use earth, air, water, and fire all at once. All the tools there, it's like if you're a builder too, you're going to probably just use a hammer or a screw or a wrench or one thing at a time. You're very rarely hitting with all the things. So one thing at a time, don't get ahead of yourselves. And I think if you can kind of create a priority list and a plan of attack that way and focus on what you can make the biggest impact on today, great. And again, the other thing is, if you don't feel the spark, acknowledge that, don't fake it. And belief is key. Magic only works if you believe in yourself, and if you believe in magic, so believe in yourself. The magician is limitless if he really just leans into his own power and his own worth. Okay? All right. I think we're going to go into the special topic next. I don't know why. I still have to kind of adjust it on some of these, so hold on a second. Let me pick the right camera. For the special topic today, we're going to look at quarters of the year. So what I'd like to do, I might do like past, present, future, and then pull a couple of cards if I'm compelled to do that, because otherwise it'll go too long. So let's do that, and then if I have more time, I may also look at health, wealth, love, and destiny for the week. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll do the special topic, and then if we have time, I will look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll kind of play that part by ear. Even though I'm doing it a little out of order, it's what feels right. Okay, let's see. What do I want to use for this? I may just use light seers. It shows up really well, and it's easy to see, and then I'll use the other one for the last part. Okay, so we're going to start off with February and see what's coming through in the next part of the year, next month of the year. All right, past, present, and future. Okay, some interesting things coming through in this month ahead. What I might do also, because it helps and it's kind of fun, although I am limited on space here, I might have to zoom out a little bit on this camera, so we'll see. I can try pulling all of them. So we're going to look at February, March. March is looking fantastic, folks. Okay. And then April, getting us into spring in the northern hemisphere of the year, of the globe, I should say. Yeah, okay. So the only challenge is really with the month ahead. So I'm going to move these to the side for a second because I don't have a lot of space here. We're going to focus on 1 month at a time, but I just wanted to have those there. So past, present, and future. So as we're looking at this upcoming month, the biggest challenge going into it is emotions. And we can see the person kind of sinking under the weight of their emotions sometimes. Fear, anxiety, uncertainty. And for some of you, it could just be getting to a place of maybe even not wanting to face some of the things that are coming through. Like, what do I do about this? Or can I face this? So deep breath. I think the most important thing is, I was just talking to the air signs about the Seven of Cups where everything is all at once. Mapping things out is so vital over the course of this 3-month period. And we didn't get the Two of Wands, but Two of Wands is really what I would kind of focus on if I were to pick a minor arcana, because it's looking at the map, it's looking at you, it's figuring out, how do I get there? Where am I at? How do I get there? Rather than I'm not there. You want to instead think, I will get there. What's the first step? Not that I'm not there. That's the obvious. You're manifesting. So when you manifest, clearly you're manifesting something that doesn't exist. So let's get over the fact that you're not where you want to be and just open the paths. And it may not be obvious first, so you could just say, show me. What should I do? And you meditate. And then you talk to a mentor. And then you do some research. And then you come up with an idea. And then you create a plan. It's not all going to happen at once. I just feel like it's getting in your headspace a little bit too much. So try not to get in your headspace too much. We see the two animals at the top, usually a wolf and a dog. You may be at this nexus between what is expected and what instinctively feels best. Follow your instincts. In this case, we want to be the wolf. The dog is conditioned and expected to act a certain way. Now, of course, you're going to combine probably the two energies of instincts and sort of like the training, and that's where the path is usually between the two animals. So normally we focus on that part of the vista. We're kind of where the lobster is normally on this card. And instead of the lobster, they're just showing what it represents, which is heavy emotions. So that's why I'm trying to get you cognitively out of that, not from the it's not here, or to the I can do this or I will do this. So I can, I will, I am. That kind of mantra is really where you want to focus it at the very beginning of this upcoming month of February. Eye-opening, that's really where the center of the month is bringing you, the Two of Swords. Things may not always come through in the expected way, shape, or form, but sometimes they're perfectly aligned with what you need, right? And yeah, someone said pick the road less traveled. That would be connected to this as well. When it's not in front of you, you have to kind of go within. So I just posted a short today about imagination. Matthias was talking about how children have this amazing ability to learn, and it's partly because nobody, hopefully, has told them that they can't do something. So they just keep doing it and keep learning things and going places, and it kind of gets hammered out as we become older. We get so many people saying, you're not this enough, you're not that enough, this will never happen, you can't do that, stop, follow the rules. It gets to that point where you're like, what can I do? So let's get back to the childlike wonderment and see something that isn't in front of you and just go for it. Obviously, you'll still kind of like create a plan, but that is what sort of like inventors do. So working in that inspirational place, not being overly practical. I don't want you to be too practical in February. I want you to be imaginative, instinctive, trusting yourself, okay? The thing to avoid, and we are so far ahead of this month that you can't avoid this, and the Devil's Reverse, which is a positive placement for this card, it's basically not getting yourself into something you don't want to do. It's kind of interesting because as we look at these, this is trusting your instincts. This is not choosing to not ignore the Two of Swords. Like, so if something doesn't feel right, you have to speak up earlier than later. And then just simply say, that's not what we talked about. you're saying no to the devil when it's reversed. You're seeing through what he wants to do here, which is basically it's about control, manipulation, or it's a contract or a deal that doesn't pan out. I like that the creator of this deck, I think it's Chris Ann, chose to make an attractive devil, because oftentimes opportunities, even relationships in front of us, they can on the surface be attractive, but there's something beneath it that may make you feel like, nah. And I want you to listen to that and don't do it, okay? And if you don't like something, say no. Redline it if it's a contract. Honestly, if I was pulling cards for myself and I got a devil, I would just say there's something better. Even if I changed the contract, the fact that they tried to do that initially, that's a red flag that can't be erased. But if you're already into something, then you're going to fix this and fight for your rights, okay? So what's the silver lining? You're like, Nicholas, these are some heavy cards. It's okay, we're doing it ahead of time. So I would say the silver lining for February would be the following. You're going to connect to your intuition. You're going to take that road less traveled, like one of the viewers said. You're going to ask questions and not ignore things and be proactive. Two of Swords reversed is basically trusting what you see even if you don't want to see it. Intuition helps us see the path even when it's not convenient to do so. And then don't accept something that isn't good enough for you. You're basically finding confidence, voice, power, and intuition. So those are the calls to action for this month ahead. And have some fun too. The childlike wonderment like we talked about. All right, we're going to slide this to the top. And now we're going to focus on the next month. So we just looked at February. Now we're going to focus on the energy of March. It's so much better. Sometimes we have to do the work. So this doesn't mean that February is going to be bad. It means that, for some reason, I'm not sure why the camera went for a second, but I'll bring it back. But it just means in this moment in time that there might be, some challenges in front of you. Give me a second here and see what happened here. I'm not sure why the main camera's gone. So we'll just look at the main deck for a second and hopefully I can bring it back. So with the King of Pentacles, one of the things that we want to focus on with the King of Pentacles is really advocating for your own worth in this month. And it's a time to be very, very active. And basically the King of Pentacles knows his worth. So this is connected to seeing something to the finish line, first and foremost. So I feel like this month in particular, if there's something that you want to bring to fruition, you have a great chance and a great opportunity to do just that. For those of you that are in a more entrepreneurial energy, King of Pentacles is also very welcoming to that as well. And I'm just going to go to the main FaceTime camera for a second here and see if I can sort this out. Hold on a second, because I have options here. All right, so we'll go to this one for a second. So with the King of Pentacles, one thing that you can also do is basically say what it is that you want. There's a lot of active energy on this one and a lot of you saying, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. And so in this period of time, don't be afraid to do all of that. Entrepreneurial, building energy, and finally sort of owning what it is that you want. I also see a theme of loyalty here. There's paternal energy. So again, for any of you that want to be a mentor, be a leader, this card is absolutely connected to all of that. All right, so then we are moving on to the energy of the Ace of Pentacles. So the Ace of Pentacles, also equally beautiful, and it's really stating that in this moment in time, there could be an opportunity coming through for you. For some of you, this could be new relationship. This could be a new job offer. You could be planting a seed or finally reaping the rewards of something that you've been working really, really hard to create. New job, new relationship, more money coming through, more opportunities. All of the aforementioned are welcomed in any point in time, but especially now. Also notice how on this ace, it takes time for the roots to sort of like set in. So many of you may already be building this in January, but just now it's finally starting to come to fruition, okay? So fantastic energy here as well. Now let's take a look at future energy. And with the future energy here, we have the Queen of Cups coming through, representing this opportunity to partner up. And for some of you, the partner could be an earth sign, or you could be an earth sign and we could be bringing in a water sign. So we have partnership, we have a heightened creativity, and also, look at the contrast between the two. So in this one, the head is below water, and now she's finally like above water. She's learned how to channel and to focus on the emotions that matter most. If I were to look at like highlights of this month overall, here's what I see. It feels like you finally get a handle on who you are, what you want to do, what's important to you. And when you focus and you're not pulled in the directions, because we had the Two of Pentacles earlier, finally some progress starts to happen, okay? So now we're looking at the Queen of Cups, and this is like satisfaction, happiness. Finally feeling like, oh, it's all working out, thank goodness. And I'm with you on that as well, all right? So we've gone from having to tune into your instincts to being very grounded and very in touch with your instincts. We've gone from a place where you're not getting enough to finally getting what you're worth. When you say no, you can say yes to something better. And a place from not seeing it to seeing it. So I quite like the sort of shift that we're seeing between all of this. All right, let's now shift into the energy. We just looked at February, March, now we're into April. And it's all good stuff here as well. But let's start off with the first card in this spread here, which is the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords comes through when you need to take a break and you need to take care of yourself. And if you're constantly running yourself ragged, I should say, there comes a point where it's just like, hey, I have limits. I have to take care of myself. So in this particular situation, I think it's really important for you not to overdo things and to sort of, you can see how the heart is whole here, right? So when you give yourself enough time and space to feel healed, to take care of yourself, you also can have that beautiful energy that's present in the Four of Swords. All right, taking a look here at what this leads for you or brings into you. This is bringing you to success, Six of Wands. Six of Wands in reverse is reminding you, why are you doing this? Is it for you or is it for someone else? The Six of Wands is, believe it or not, it's also leadership. A lot of times you just see someone riding in on a horse and you don't see the people around them. On this card, you can see all these hands reaching for the person. And so make sure that you're doing stuff that makes you happy at the end of the day, because it can be exhausting if that's not the case, okay? I think that success can come in surprising places, and that's another message in this moment in time. Other things that I'm seeing here, this is a recalibrating month in particular, because we see this rest energy, unexpected success, and then we have partnership coming through, and I think that's part of the reason that it's really important to rest. So here we have Two of Cups, unexpected friendship, partnership, and alliances that might be coming forth. Don't be afraid also to reach out if you want some help. It's there, but people are waiting for you to do the reaching and the inquiring. There could also be an invitation that, again, is just unexpected, something surprising about this month. There could be a very successful partnership that's coming through, a very successful relationship or friendship, but the open-mindedness that I was picking up on that was a challenge in this week, I would say this also kind of factors into the following month. So let's look at this 3-month period overall, and then I'm going to try to fix my camera after that, and we'll see if there's some overarching themes. Then I'll probably break it down into health, wealth, love, and destiny. Maybe I'll do some other things, but let's just talk about it. So again, this is an awakening month here as we're looking at February, and it's about not second guessing yourself, not selling yourself short. It pays off big time when we look at March. Opportunities, perhaps more resources, a new sense of happiness, maybe even some new relationships coming forth. All good stuff. Then we see, perhaps because of the success that's coming through in April, you need to, at the very beginning of the month, take a step back and rest. Possibly let go of something else in your life that you've been holding on to. Embrace the success and opportunities that have come your way, and then create some space, because I do feel like new relationships want to come forth. All right. Let me see if I can reboot this this other camera while we're talking, and I'm going to potentially now take a look here at one oracle card for each of these to see, is there a big takeaway here in these 3 months in this quarter? All right, so for the month ahead, February, March, and April. All right, so let's see what they have in store. All right, so in the month of February, here's what we've got. So we have voice, progress, and cleansing. And that makes a lot of sense because we want to get away from that energy of the devil. We want to speak up. We want to clear stuff that doesn't serve the highest good or the highest purpose. Also, when I look at this cute little tree frog, it's about taking a big leap. And then going from February to March, we have a reverse card here. So really making sure that you are not rushing. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. If you do it right and slow down, intensity, vigilance, and speed comes through. Everything will happen at the right pace, the right time. And then again, April, we have support, friendship, and compliance here. So that's what we have here with the Two of Cups. Compliance is very interesting. I think because of this, scrutiny is what happens with the Six of Wands. Make sure that you're doing everything right. Because trust me, if you're not, someone will speak up. So quickly, while I try to fix this camera, and if not, I'm just going to use the other one. It doesn't matter. It's good enough for today. Yeah, it's not coming back, but that's okay. That's part of the fun of doing a live stream. All right, so we're going to move forward now into, I think health, wealth, love, and destiny would be nice for the week ahead. So we'll kind of jump back into that. And then I'll see if there's anything else I feel called to look at. All of the readings while I'm traveling are a little bit in the flow, which I think is fun. Oh, good. Did it just come back? That's fun. You never know what to expect with these. All right, so let me see if I can bring the main camera back. All right. Woohoo! All right, there we go. Baby steps. The guides do what they want to do, and I'm just here. All right, so let's move forward. I'd like to now break this down into health, wealth, love, and destiny, the expanded forecast. And so we're doing everything a little bit different. I'm going to use an actual tarot card deck for this. So let's expand the forecast, and we'll start off first with health, which is your mind, body, and your spirit. Okay, let's go. Now you can see me. Yeah, I mean, actually one of the cool things with just doing this whole traveling thing is it's allowing me to completely change the rules on everything, which is important because that's how we innovate on the channel. Okay, so health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right, let's begin with the energy of health. This is interesting. Okay, so in health here we have the Ten of Pentacles coming through. One of the challenges for some of you could be in the pressure that people are putting on you in the form of expectations. This can come from the people that you work with. This can come from friends and family, from coworkers, all of that. And this is basically saying, you know what, I got to take care of myself. I have to take this one step at a time. And so don't rush this month. Ten of Pentacles is also about putting more of a focus on family. And so maybe some of you have been working so much, so often, so hard that you're not getting enough time to breathe, to take care of yourself. So that's what I'm really seeing here, is to focus on all of those sorts of things here and not succumb to pressure. I'm going to pull an oracle card on this too and say, what else do you need to focus on with respect to general health and well-being? This is good. Entanglement. So the devil energy that we picked up on when I was focusing on the month ahead is also really important here. So make sure that you're not getting roped into, pulled into, tricked into things that you know better than to do. So this is really about making sure that you're not getting caught up in all the nonsense. Then we have the feeling piece. So we had the moon card come through. So making sure that you're adequately sort of listening to your feelings and emotions. And of course, one of them came to the surface here, which could be pain. And in the weekly forecasts, we had the Five of Cups with the horse, with his head down. So pain is a teacher. It can't be ignored. Once we listen to pain, thank it, and dismiss it, we can move forward. What I like about the jellyfish on this one, or in this, yeah, it's a jellyfish, is that you should be able to see through past the situation. So there's a perceived block. It may sting a little bit, but you can see through it. You know what's on the other side. So knowing is half of the battle. You don't have to handle this all on your own, though. That's part of the joy on this card as well. All right. So we're going to move next into the energy of wealth, which is resources, life purpose, and career. We have Nine of Wands. I'm just going to turn another light on, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so moving into the energy of, we just looked at health, we're looking at wealth. What we have coming through is a really hardworking card, Nine of Wands. You can see on her dress, she's been through it. Kind of like my little pup Apollo. She had some stitches, she survived, she's stronger for it. In the traditional illustration, there's usually a bandage on the head of the person that's standing in front of the Nine of Wands. And they're usually carrying that ninth wand. In this one, I think she's kind of holding on to the flower of the rose. So all of the thorns were worth it. You're finally at a place now where you've earned your sort of stripes, if you will. So don't back down. This is one of the most resilient cards when we're looking at wealth that you can get. So stand your ground. Also, I'm remembering like all of the Wands cards that came in reverse. So you can say no and you can repeat it if you need to, because sometimes you have to be firm, strong, clear, direct. And if you've had a failure or a setback, it's not the end of the world. It's just to help you kind of get to the path that you're supposed to. So don't give up. I know it's easier said than done, but luckily we're going to get a little bit more granular in this, and I'll break this down into 5 subcategories. All right, so let's take a look and see what's going on. Create some space here in the different types of wealth situations using my tiny little deck here. All right, so we'll look at those that are in a job, those that are seeking employment, we'll leave that there. In a job, entrepreneurs first, then seeking employment. Then we'll look at students, followed by retirees. It's kind of perfect when I'm looking at the smaller ones like this on this. All right, so we're going to start off first if you're presently employed. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So there's a lot being asked of you. Again, we're back into the 7-day forecast. This week, it's really important not to overextend, not to overpromise. That actually kind of gets you into the energy of the devil. We don't want that. Or 7 of Swords, where you can't keep a promise. I think that's the biggest and most important thing to bring forth this week. Less is more. Better to under-promise and over-deliver, or say, come back to me tomorrow, there's a lot on my plate. Just be honest with what you're doing. If you need more time, energy, support, or attention, speak up. Ace of Pentacles in reverse is about asking for something and often getting it, but it does require the initial question. So that's for all of you that are currently working. If you own your own company, you're an entrepreneur, Nine of Cups in reverse, take some care of yourself, first and foremost. Many of you may just be feeling overwhelmed. Also there just may be too much going on. Limiting, 7 of Cups, 9 of Cups, very similar, kind of limiting what's going on so that you're not feeling the emotional weight of all of this is going to be really, really important. I think the other thing here is this is highs and lows. This is extremes. So if you feel like you're going to extremes this month, and this week rather, it's important for you to kind of take a step back and say, this doesn't have to be the worst day ever, or I'm not going to let this really positive thing go to my head. I'm going to take it for what it is and then pick the middle of the road here, right? I think that's really, really important. Other things with 9 of Cups. Celebrate the little successes. And make sure that if you have employees or people working for you or a vendor, that you do something to express that appreciation, okay? Now we're going to move on to those of you that are looking for work. You may be going back to a place that you used to work and checking in on that 8 of Cups. You may be looking outside of your geographical location. You may be willing to travel a little bit more. Sorry, I was in the upright position. So 8 of Cups has to do with ends and beginnings, second chances, and travel. So all of these things are going to help you. Here's one thing that I'll say with certain types of job application processes. If it's hot and cold, on and off, you can just say enough is enough. I need to know where I stand on this, right? So if you're not getting what you need on something, just take a step back. Also, that's the final message here. If you have a decision in front of you, big or small, sleep on it. Take a step back, at least take an hour or two before saying yes or before saying no, okay? And if you're willing to travel a little bit, something really positive could come out of that as well, okay? Can you find something? Yes. It may, like I said, be connected to someone that you already used to work with or for. You could get a second chance at a job that said no before, so follow up on things. And if you're just getting hot and cold treatment, just move on. So It's a general reading, but I'm doing my best to kind of comprise all of the things that would be in that. All right, now we're looking at students. It's a great card for you. Like, pages are all about learning, and it's a great card for those of you that might be in the field of communication as well. The important thing here is to speak up. If there's something that you need, if there's something that you want, Page of Swords energy is coming forth to make sure that you're being seen and heard. Also, make sure that when you are like taking notes or whatever, that you are actively asking questions and making sure that you're listening without filters or prejudice. Overall, I love the Page of Swords. It's a busy week. There's a lot going on, and you may be asked to speak up. So do your homework and be ready, so just in case someone asks you a question. By the way, one of the ways, like back when I was a student, I would always sit at the front. I would ask a lot of questions. I'd be prepared. They would never call on me randomly because they're like, "You got this." So if you don't want to be called on, ask a question. Because it shows that you're inquisitive and you're paying attention. They're usually going to ask questions to people that are disengaged. So if you're engaged at least once per class, you're usually safe. Okay. Sometimes it depends on the teacher, but you know. All right, retirees, you are taking stock of things. We have the Six of Pentacles. It is reversed. Let's look at it in the upright position. Upright position, everybody wants something. It could be your friends, could be your family, could be your children or grandchildren, but you have to sort of like, you have to give and take a little bit, make sure that you have enough. When it comes to travel, investments, and other things, you have to make sure that it's not tapping out your resources too much. This isn't like a depressing card. Six of Pentacles means you have more than enough, but there are choices, and it usually involves scope, timing. For you, I think it's mostly scope and timing. So, and like how quickly do you want to do something? If you can put it off, it's usually cheaper. How much do you want to do now? Can you kind of do a little bit here and then a little bit later? Usually it will work. So be realistic is really what this is saying in this period of time. Okay, let's move on to love and relationships. New beginnings are coming through here. We have the Fool card in reverse. But look how deep the Fool goes. And it's kind of interesting that we have an alligator or crocodile on this card here. So a Fool in reverse, taking a step back. It may feel like a setback, but it's just a step back so that you can say, wait, what about this? Or how about that? So perspective is really what this is also asking you to give yourself. What else here? I also think that there may be someone that isn't ready to commit. In a relationship, this is someone who wants like no strings attached, who wants, it's kind of like easy come, easy go. If you're looking for something that is a deeper connection, this may not be the person, but we'll look at that as I go a little bit more granular. In general, some of you just may need some freedom, some space, some time to look around, okay? All right, so let's break it down a little bit deeper. We're going to now look at 3 categories. We have an extra card. I'm just going to put that on the Fool because it wanted to volunteer itself, so hold on. So we have speaking up is going to be important here as we drill into each of these. It's tricky shuffling with like big hands, little tiny deck of cards. All right, so we're going to look at 3 categories here. Those in a relationship, those that are seeking love, and those that are single and happy. Woo! Okay, what is synchronicity? How does this deck already have a bend on it? Oh well. We have the Fool coming through for those that are single and happy. So you're like, yes, I am. But let's focus first on those that are in a relationship. Also nicely aligned with what I was pulling earlier. So we had a lot of court cards, a lot of wands that were reversed. So stubbornness is one thing that's definitely coming through. So the most important thing is to listen first, to ask questions, and honestly, you don't always have to chime in. Wands isn't overly vocal. Now, we have the King of Swords. Some of you may be in a relationship where someone does all the talking, someone does all the doing, and it's like, I've shown you how I feel. Why do I have to tell you how I feel? The partner may want you to talk more. You may be feeling like, why do I need to do this? So I still think a conversation is part of this, and just say, this is how I communicate. I communicate by showing you. But it may be important also to say, I see you, I appreciate you, how are you doing? And you don't always have to reply. Sometimes just listening is important too. So you may need to listen, you may need to be listened to, Wherever it is, communicate expectations. This is also a card of passion and that sort of, spark between you. Make sure that you're making time for each other, a date night, something like that. And try not to go into a parental role. This can be very much like teacher or parent, and we don't necessarily want that with the partnership. So what I used to do, actually, even just speaking of parental roles with my mom, who has, she's in spirit, but I would just say, do you want my advice or do you want a listening ear, like my support? I can do both. I can do either. Sometimes she was just like, can I just vent? I would say, yes. And I'd put myself on mute and do a chore around the house and just listen. And also empathize. I'm sorry you're going through this. Let me know if you need any advice or help later. That was it. And then we didn't argue because she probably knew what I was going to say. So see how you can show up. It's not always about advising somebody, especially if someone's going through a hard time. I've seen this a lot with a lot of my friends that went through challenges in California. Like the last thing that we need to hear is, well, you should know better because there are fires or earthquakes or mudslides. That's very insensitive. It doesn't help. You're not advising. It's just like meet yourself where the person is and say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. How can I help? That's it. So if you can do something like that, it's going to save everybody time and energy. And then you don't have to think about trying to fix the person. They may not need to be fixed. They may just need a hug. Okay, moving on to those of you that are looking for love. It's not going to meet your expectations necessarily, and that could be good or bad. And also, just because you don't see a person there or what it is that you're looking for doesn't mean that someone isn't seeking you out. Unexpected energy with the Two of Swords. So that's one thing. Also, don't ignore the red or yellow flags. If someone doesn't sound right, like what they're saying to you, or if something doesn't feel right, trust it. So this is not ignoring the signals and being open to meeting someone that is unexpected in your life. They could come up and strike a conversation with you. It could be an air sign. There also could just be someone that's traveling through from a different city, state, country, or province, and you strike up a connection. It's unexpected. So if you're looking for it, try not to orchestrate it. Try to just focus on being open-hearted, open-minded this week, because that keeps coming through, and I think that will serve you well. But don't ignore a flag if it comes through. And we have a beautiful synchronicity here for everybody that's single and happy. You're just coming through and saying, yes, Nicholas, I'm single and happy. Enjoy the freedom. Take a walk, take a hike, take a trip. Do what you want to do. This is a great time to start something new as well and just have some fun. Just absolute validation that you're where you need to be. And if you need to pick up and go somewhere or start something new, you can do so completely unencumbered. You have, blessings from spirit there. Let's move on to destiny. In destiny, we have a great card. I always lament when the snail isn't there, but thankfully it is on this card. So it was reversed, but let's just look at it in the upright position. There is the snail on her cornucopia hat. And could this be any more like luxurious and ridiculously sort of abundant? That is the whole idea with the Nine of Pentacles. So for some of you, it's aspirational. That's what you're seeking, is way more than enough. Self-sufficiency, independence, success. The snail comes through as a little reminder, one little step at a time, and then you can have all of this. Work hard, focus on the long game, and trust yourself in this, okay? Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the only thing that happens sometimes with the Nine of Pentacles, is she tends to be a little bit stubborn, a little bit afraid to just sort of say, sure, I'll accept that help. Okay, let's do this, okay? Great. I feel like we covered a lot in a little bit of time, which is really cool. So I think what we could do is we can meditate, but let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on here. If there's any questions, let's see. Someone was saying, when are you going to do inner child? I actually already did that last month. I looked back and I'm like, we did that in December. So that's good. I think I'm going to do, because Valentine's is coming up, the week of Valentine's, it'll be all love and heart stuff. You're just going to pick something related to the heart. And I'll have to do some relationship stuff in there too. So don't worry. It'll get its time for that period in particular. So that being said, we've healed the inner child. We're going to look at love in a couple of weeks. I feel like today we already covered the expanded forecast. I'm going to pull an extra card and just see what spirit wants us to focus on. And then we'll meditate. and then we'll do a final question. So, Spirit, what are all my viewers not asking, but they should be asking? All right, and let's just do past, present, future on this here as well. Got it. Okay, so we have a couple of messages coming through for what you should be focusing on, but may not be. Stress management, clear communication, cutting some cords, and then kind of like walking your own path. So let's do it one at a time, and then we'll go into the meditation. All right, if someone like this exists in your life, it's not worth it anymore. Five of Swords is typically someone who isn't ready to talk, isn't ready to listen, may just enjoy getting a rise out of you. So cut the cords with people, and I would also say like organizations where they're just not worth the headache anymore. Also, don't be your own worst critic. So in order to get into the energy of I can, I will, and I am, we have to really feel the sense of I am worthy, I am ready, I am abundance. And I'm not saying that grammatically incorrect. You're associating yourself with the Nine of Pentacles. I am abundance. So when you feel that sense of you being equated to that, then it can happen. But what happens with this is sometimes we think, I can't do it, I'm not enough. Okay? So wanted to help you with that. Getting out of stressful thoughts, situations, and environments. Really focusing on quality and quantity of sleep. We've gotten 2 sleep cards coming through. 9 of Swords, 4 of Swords. Please make sure you're getting what you need in that respect. And then kind of going into your rebel phase here with the Hierophant in reverse. I love that we have a young Hierophant here, and he's not standing in front, like he's not listening to someone preach. Literally, that's the Hierophant. It's a papal figure preaching. Two keys and 2 disciples. So modern decks often do away with the preaching energy, and already this was there, but the fact that we have this card in reverse is saying you're breaking down some of those pre-existing hierarchies. So you may no longer want, this is very entrepreneurial, this is very independent. You may no longer want to work with or for somebody. This happened to me almost to the date exactly. I quit my job at the end of January in 2015. We'll start to do some fun stuff because I like officially put all of my energy into the channel around May of 2015, around the same time as a couple of other people that are still out there and about there. But that was my Hierophant reverse moment where I'm like, I don't want to play by the rules anymore. I'm going to make my own rules. But there's a lot of work. It was a 10-year journey of building stuff. So this is a chance for you to decide, do I want to go in a new direction? Am I ready to do the work? Because stating that you're a rebel is one thing, but you need to be a rebel with a cause, not without a cause. So I want you to, if you're ready to be rebellious, figure out what the 3-year plan is going to look like. And then you can slowly start to turn the tide. For everyone else, you may just have a hard time taking direction in the week ahead. You may need more time and independence. That's why the Hermit energy was coming through for some of you. So if you need that time and space, go for it. Okay, so I'm not retiring anytime soon. What I am doing is more exciting things. So as an aside, before we get into meditation, I would love to do more podcasts. I'm really mindful of who I invite on the podcast. I have to feel like they have a point of view. Like I have to connect with them, but I would love to do more of them. So it would be great to get it to a quarterly or bi-monthly schedule. That's a dream and a goal of mine, but it's going to take time. I would love to do more developmental videos. I'd like to change things up a bit. So this year is a year where we'll keep trying to. I like that I'm on the road, by the way. I think that's fun because I'm not just tethered to my apartment anymore. So for all of you that are complimenting the decor, this is my cousin's place that I'm staying at, and I'll pass along the kind words. So thank you so much. Okay, let's meditate. Please take a moment, if you will, close your eyes. And right after this, by the way, we will take a look at a final question. By the way, in the comments, if there's something new video-wise that you'd like me to do, leave a comment. If you haven't already checked out the podcast, check it out. And if you have guests that you'd like me to see or interview, put it in that. Check out the first podcast too. I've done 2. And let me know who else you think I should see. I read every comment, especially on the podcast. So there we go. Let's meditate. Close your eyes. I'm going to use winter because I'm in the snowy mountains right now. So imagine that you're standing outside in front of a warm fireplace, and you're watching the falling snow around you. And you look at how each one of those crystals builds, creates this, it's almost like a field of diamonds around you. I took a picture and I'll post it on social media later, but snow is beautiful. It's all these little crystals, and when the sun hits it, it's like all these little diamonds. See yourself in those diamonds and see yourself as multifaceted. One of the things I think that we could focus on in opening up in your energy is the ability to be more than one thing. We're not just mother or sister or friend or whatever. We're so many things. So I'd like you to open up your crystal, which is in your heart and your soul, and imagine all the facets, all the directions, and then imagine that you could blast out this prism of light in every direction. Now start to see what the universe is opening up for you in respect to love, in respect to new relationships and opportunities and personal developments. This is a chance for you to see yourself in a multifaceted, multidimensional sort of like view, because we don't always look multidimensional. We're very 3D. So I'd like you to go 4, 5, and beyond and see all of the possibilities, past, present, and future. Let that prism also open up any sort of energy that was in your body and blast it out so that you are clear and clean and ready to walk that path of the Fool. So let's take a look at your final question, bring that back into your mind. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, so what we have here is a theme of self-confidence coming through. Five of Pentacles can sometimes be limiting because in the past it didn't happen, because in the past someone said you're not enough. Well, in the present, you are enough. And in the future, I love that there's a rose in here that's ready to bloom. Things are going to be much more open, abundant, and fruitful. So we have to release what was or wasn't in the past and focus more on what can be. There may be a need also to focus a little bit more on your health. Five of Pentacles can come through when we run ourselves ragged and get a cold. It's also encouraging you not to sell yourself short when it comes to business, finance, and any sort of contractual relationship as well, okay? You are worthy and you are worth it. And take care of your feet as well. Get a new pair of shoes if you haven't. If you're in inclement weather, as I am right now, make sure that you wear a nice pair of boots to help you through the snow, and pay attention. I think nowadays the Five of Pentacles can happen because we trip or fall or slip because we're on our phone or looking at our watch. So, just stay focused on the path ahead. Also, inner child healing, all of that. There's a lot of energy there. All right, so now let's get into the gratitude portion, which is one of my favorite pieces here. So first of all, thanks to everybody that showed up. I appreciate it. As I'm getting logged in here to the back end of YouTube, a couple of quick notes. If you enjoyed what you see here, please remember to like and subscribe. It is 100% free. It helps the channel more than you might realize, and I appreciate it. If you would like to follow me on social media, I am on all major platforms, Blue Sky included. All the links are right here on the screen. You can also go to my website for more information on that. Thank you in advance for everybody that gave back in the form of super stickers, super chat, and memberships. We're going to be looking at all of those in just a moment. And let's see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I don't give private readings. So if you ever see someone that does that, you know it's not me. So be smart, stay safe, keep me posted. All right. Okay, so for members, welcome to or welcome back to the following. Let's see, Sylvie, Melanie, Lady, Juicy Diva, Bun, Rebecca, Valerie, Piper, Anya, Astro Tarot, and Barb. Good to see all of you. Let's go on to super stickers and super chats, and then I'll do milestones. Okay, super sticker, super chat. Jeannie, Tahoe, good to see you, Tahoe. Ent 444, Lucy Rodriguez, Jamie, Jackie, and Melissa. Thank you. And let me see if I missed anybody because it should show up here in this tab as well. So let's take a look at fan funding. Okay, so let's see. Lots of gifts today. Thank you so much to everybody that gifted. Schoolhouse Intuitive for gifting 1. Colette for gifting 5 memberships. Heather for gifting a single membership. Lucy also for gifting a membership. Let's see who else. I think that's everybody. I saw a couple of new people here, Jeannie and Handy at the very end. Thank you for your stickers as well. All right, that's everything for today. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead. For those that stuck around, let me see if I can pull up the live stream and gift a couple of memberships as we speak. For those that stayed until the end, you never know when I might gift it. Let's see if it's still here. Membership gifting. There we go. This is the 5 left for this month. So for everybody that stuck around, it was worth it. I hope. Thank you very much. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Again, sort of getting on my feet when it comes to remote production. It takes a minute or two to get the camera set up and the lighting and all of that. But I'm just glad to be here and be with all of you. Sending you all the best in the week ahead. Thank you very much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Again, check out that podcast if you haven't already. And hopefully there'll be more in the year ahead. Okay? Take care of yourself. Lots of love and light. And until next week, same time, same place, then I'll be changing locations. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.